Welcome into the draft profile for RJ Harvey, running back out of UCF. Guys, this is a 5'8", 205-pound, well-built, stocky running back out of UCF. This guy, legs incredible. His lower half is absolutely incredible. He runs with a ton of burst and energy. I think, look, it's probably going to be tough for him to gain a full-time starting role in the NFL. I think that's going to be tough for him to find that role. I think he can, but he's going to have to earn it. I doubt that he's drafted or viewed by the NFL as a guy who's just going to be given that opportunity. He'll have to earn that opportunity. I think he can. I certainly think he can, and I think at worst, yeah, he's a really good rotational piece of a running back room that can do it on all three downs. Let's go ahead and get to the skill chart. Looking at this skill chart here for you guys, I will say right off the bat, I'm not a guy who's going to sit here and tell you that RJ Harvey has elite skill set anywhere. A 7 and above is an elite grade for me. You look at his skill set here, none of his grades are elite, but we do have some things that are really special. And while I might question, does it translate to the NFL? He does a lot of really good things. I want to start with contact balance. Obviously, he has that low center of gravity. He is kind of tough to bring down. And on top of that, he does a really good job, and this kind of goes into his elusiveness, but he does a really good job of keeping defenders off balance. Guys don't really get in his hip pocket super often. Obviously, it happens. He gets tackled, certainly. But his ability to make people miss, to keep people a little bit off balance, to bounce off of tacklers because they just don't get the perfect angle at him. It's a skill set that I feel like isn't talked about a ton. It's not something you see with every running back. It's not something that really needs to be discussed with every running back, but you know it when you see it, and RJ Harvey has it, okay? He has just that kind of innate ability to keep you off balance, to keep you not getting right into his center, right into his hips. Now, I will say, how does that translate? Do NFL defenders have an issue with that? I don't know. Maybe this is just a really good college running back. There's definitely an element of that could be true. You're gonna see me hedging my bets a little bit on this guy. I'll be honest with you, because I like a lot of the things about him. There's definitely a part of me that's like, you watch, especially like if you just watch his highlights, you're like, oh yeah, no, this is the next superstar in the NFL. I think you dive in a little bit deeper and you start to find more flaws in his game. One of his flaws we'll talk about with vision at a 4.2. Negative grade for me. Biggest issue there. Bounced it outside way too much. Just constantly bouncing it outside. I felt like he missed big holes in the middle. 4.2 might have been generous, to be honest, because I gave him the benefit of the doubt that bouncing it outside worked, at least, I guess. I don't think that style is going to work in the NFL. I think he's going to have to refine his running style from that perspective. And I think that's probably just an element of, running the ball at a smaller school where you are one of the most explosive players on the field, and, he wanted to bounce it outside. I guess I can't fault him too much when it works, but it was a lot, and I did feel like he would kind of go against the scheme of the play. Like, he didn't have a ton of outside zone run plays. I don't have the numbers in front of me or anything, but if you watch him play, like, a lot of his run schemes were interior. I mean, between the tackle stuff, a lot of it at least. And not a lot of it was outside, but he ends up running outside a lot just because that's what you like to do. And maybe there's an element of that with scheme, and I'm maybe missing that. I don't think I am, but I'll at least give that caveat that maybe there's an element to the UCF running game scheme that I'm just not super aware of. Let me know in the comments if you think so, but I don't. Add on to that, pass protection needs some work, certainly. He runs with pretty good power. He breaks enough tackles at a 5.6 and a 5.7. I bring those up because, look, I understand the size is going to be an issue, but he does have good leg drive. He is a hard-nosed runner between the tackles, and he does run between the tackles with good wiggle. Good. I mean, he is, again, that elusiveness. He has slippery hips, I guess I would say. And his ability in the open field is special. Maybe not elite. Like, I don't think his long speed is gonna, be next level at a 4.4 40. That's great. That's plenty fast for running back. I would tell you, I maybe didn't see 4.4, but I definitely thought he was fast enough for the combine. I thought he was fast enough on field. I have no nervousness about that. But, man, just the way he makes people miss in open space, the way he maneuvers in open space is really special. I think, we talked about how he bounces outside way too much. Well, he's good in space, so I at least understand the idea there. I understand where he's coming from. I get it. Look, I think overall, when you look at my skill chart for him, when you break down kind of all of the skills that he brings to the table, not much of his game points to a 3-down workhorse back in the NFL. And I would not project him to be that, but I definitely want to give the caveat that I think there's a chance. I do. I think there's a chance. And again, maybe it's just his run style. Maybe I just kind of fall in love with a guy that has a combination of elusiveness and power and explosiveness and ability to kind of put your head down and run through contact. I just like guys like that, guys that can force missed tackles, and the way he's built doesn't scare me as far as being a 3-down back. It does feel like he's the type of guy, he's not going to be drafted in a range where he's just going to be given the keys to the castle. He's going to be drafted day 3 probably. He's going to come into a running back room where either there's already an established guy or there's other guys at the position that are going to be competing for the same carries he's getting. And the only caveat to that, the only thing that would make me nervous about that take is his vision, right? I like the way he runs. I like the way he plays, but there's just too many examples of bad vision on film. And look, it could go either way. Is it just an example of, bad habits that need to be coached out of him? It's possible, certainly. Like I said, a lot of it was just him bouncing it to the outside when he didn't need to or just probably shouldn't have. And that was just maybe an instinct that's got to get coached out of him. Or does he just kind of had bad field vision and it's only going to get perpetuated and much, much worse in the next level? I'm not sure. I don't think I can know that. I'm sure there's NFL teams that have a better feel on that than I do. But for me, that's just a huge question mark that I'm not really going to know until I'm kind of looking back at the draft next year and trying to kind of parse through how these guys did. If he's a guy that just never got on the field and really wasn't able to get a ton of opportunities, then yeah, he probably showed coaches in camp that he wasn't the type of guy who was going to consistently make the right decisions as a running back. Like, there's a lot to like about this dude. There certainly is. For me, I'm going to say 4th, 5th. And I'm going to say 5th. I'm going to say 5th round. I don't know. 4th feels a little early for him. I could absolutely see it. Teams could fall in love with his upside, and he could go 4th. It's a great running back class. I've said that probably a million times at this point through all the draft profiles I've done and everything, and everyone kind of knows that at this point. It's a good running back class. This is one of many, many, many really good running backs in this class, and yeah, he's fun to watch. He has a lot of upside. Is he the guy in the day 3 range that just breaks all the odds and becomes a starting running back from week 8 and on? Maybe he is. I could see it. I definitely think there's a realm. I think there's a world. Or maybe he's the day 3 running back that flames out in the NFL because he just doesn't have great field vision. I don't know. I think that's less likely. I do, but I certainly think it's within the realm of possibilities for him. We'll see what happens. Let me know where you'd like to see him get drafted. I don't really have a great feel for that. I could pretty much make an argument for 28 out of 32 teams of teams that maybe would have a good fit for him, or at least have a good role for him early on. We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.